that out. Let's get into this PFF ranking list. We're gonna play a little too high, too low with Earl to Pearl. Let's get to the Browns running back room. They said the Cleveland Browns, they have him at pick number, or excuse me, the number 8 room in the game. The Browns would easily have a top 5 running back room if Nick Chubb didn't suffer a terrible knee injury last year. One we weren't sure he would be able to come back from. Jerome Ford carried the rock well in his stead, amassing more than 800 yards. Kareem Hunt is no longer on the team, but all reports indicate Chubb is rehabbing as best as he can and will return in 2024. If he's anything close to the Nick Chubb we know, this is a top 10 running back group. Earl, you hear what they say about Nick Chubb. You hear what they say. Kareem Hunt no longer there. They did not mention Deontay Foreman in that mix. Is 8 too high or too low for the Cleveland Browns?
I don't know. Do you happen to have who's
let me pull, as you opine on that. Let's get to this. Let's pull that up because I can get that.
As you're looking for that, this is what I can tell you about the Browns running back room. I think that I'm more optimistic about Jerome Ford than a lot of people is. I think that Jerome Ford last year, he showed the ability to make big plays, but at the same time and in the same breath, you can see where, he needs some work at. I think he needs to work on his patience. He needs to work on identifying which hole to hit and, hit it hard. I think the fact that he's the type of running back that you can split out wide and become a wide receiver, it gives him a little bit more edge to getting playing time, as a backup running back to Nick Chubb. I seen the stat on NFL Network throughout the summer that said as far as all the running backs that split out wide at a certain percentage of snaps, he had the third most receiving yards and yards per reception. Of course, Christian McCaffrey led the department in both of those. And when I look at him, and I see a dude who still has a lot to learn, but once he learns how to actually run in between the tackles and identify which holes to hit at the same time, I think he's going to only get better. I look at Foreman. It seems like every stop that he's been at, especially with Deuce Staley as his running backs coach, he's had a lot of success. And then, if you ever pay attention to Cleveland Browns Radio Network, I got an opportunity to hear Deuce Staley talk about being a running backs coach, about this group of running backs, and how he approaches this game as a coach, and how he pretty much get his troops to follow him. And just listening to him talk, I was ready to run through a brick wall for that man right then and there. We all know what Nick Chubb is capable of when he's fully healthy. I believe Jerome Ford, going into his third year, is only going to get better. Deontay Foreman has shown to be serviceable throughout his career. I like the room. I do think it's a top 10 room. I don't know who's ahead of the Browns.
So I do got that information for you right now. So number 1, it got to San Francisco 49ers. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey is a big reason for that. They also have a all-pro fullback, Kyle Juszczyk, who does a lot of blocking, catching out of the backfield. Miami Dolphins coming at 2. They have A-Chain, who's one of the Raheem Mostert, 2 of the fastest running backs. They have elite rushing grades, 91.7 and 93.1. Detroit comes in at 3rd. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Those 2 kind of lead the way with that. At 4, you got the Baltimore Ravens, Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. They're taking into account for the fact that Lamar Jackson is a guy, and Keaton Mitchell, coming off a torn ACL, is a great running back too. And you got the Falcons with Bijan Robinson, the Packers. Josh Jacobs went to the Packers. Indianapolis Colts coming in at number 7. And they got Taylor. And then you got the Cleveland Browns at number 8. So that's where they rank right there. But I will say this, when it comes to overall grades and overall running backs, you have Christian McCaffrey at 1, Derrick Henry at 2, Jonathan Taylor at 3, and Nick Chubb, even coming off injury, is at number 4. So that just shows you the level of respect they still got for Nick Chubb.
Yeah, I mean, I ain't got no problem. If I really wanted just to make a case, just to make a fuss about something, Atlanta has a good room. The backup running back behind Bijan Robinson is slipping my mind right now. Is it
what's his name?
But you know what I'm talking about, Tyler something.
He because they drafted him. He had 1,000-yard year before that. Tyler Algier.
Yeah, Algier. So
yep.
Like, they got a solid room. I got no problem with the list. I think if Nick Chubb was fully healthy, the Browns would be higher on this list. So
Yeah. I think Nick, if he was healthy, I think they have a top 3-4 type.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go just right with number 8.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, let's keep it pushing. We cool with the running back room. Let's get to the wide receiver room. They got the wide receiver room for the Browns 18th, and I'm gonna read some of the names ahead of them before we let you get to your opinion. This spot could be too low. I think it is too low for the Browns. Led by wide receiver Amari Cooper, 80.1 PFF receiving grade in 2023. David Njoku is 70.4. They have him ranked pretty high in the top 10 tight end list. Elijah Moore and Cedric Tillman have yet to make their mark in Cleveland, and now Nick Chubb's availability and overall status are known after his season-ending injury in 2023. Jerry Jeudy, who Cleveland acquired via trade this offseason, hasn't lived up to his Alabama hype. The Browns receiving core has a higher ceiling than some of the teams ranked near them, and this will be a big prove-it year. So let me just give you really quickly some of the numbers from the wide receiver units that are ranked ahead of the Cleveland Browns. Starting at number 1, you got the 49ers, obviously Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. Miami Dolphins 2 with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. 3, you got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. 4, the Chicago Bears, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and rookie Roman Dunze. They got them at 4. Houston.
I like that.
I like that too. Stephon Diggs with Houston just added to Nico Collins. John Ameche. They got Robert Woods and Noah Brown there, so that's nice.
They got Tank Dale too.
Tank Dale coming off injury. Dalton Schultz. They got some ball players over there.
I would put them ahead of Chicago.
Yeah, I would too. Minnesota comes in at 6. They got Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson. That's nice. Detroit, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Sam Laporta coming in as top 5 tight end. So Jahmyr Gibbs is also due to catch that ball out of the backfield. And really quickly, Puka Nacua, the Rams, they got the Bengals kind of low, which was crazy. They got T. Higgins and Chase coming in at 10. The Seattle Seahawks. Tampa Bay comes at 11. The Tennessee Titans. They got DeAndre Hopkins and who else? I don't know about that.
They got Calvin Ridley. They got Calvin Ridley too.
Calvin Ridley, okay. Atlanta Falcons, Green Bay, Dallas, Kansas City, Las Vegas, and then Cleveland. Any names you see there that you'd be like, I don't know about that?
I mean, well, let me just say this. Green Bay, I think their wide receiver core is being slept on. I think they got 3 solid wide receivers. Okay. I mean, as far as the Browns go, the only sure thing that we know that we do have is Amari Cooper at wide receiver. And thank God that you got David Njoku as well. I think Jerry Jeudy has a lot of untapped potential, and it'll be interesting to see what a fresh start in a new environment would do for him. Elijah Moore, the jury is still out on. We was told by all the experts last year that Elijah Moore was a big part of what the Browns was going to do. And I think it ended up not being that at all, right? That was not the case at all. I think the wild card in all this, though, of the guys that's being mentioned is Cedric Tillman. You know, he had a pretty quiet and pedestrian rookie campaign, but you see his size, man. You see the potential, you see the athleticism, you see all of that. And I think if this dude can, get in the lab and work on the things that was an Achilles heel, like his route running, it'd be interesting to see what year 2 of his NFL career brings about. I'm a huge fan of Michael Woods. I think a healthy Michael Woods getting an opportunity to earn a roster spot in training camp and throughout preseason. It'll be interesting to see how that all plays out, but the truth of the matter is, I would say this is just right, because the reality is, as of now, ain't no guarantee Amari Cooper walking through that door in training camp without, he damn sure ain't gonna do it without a new contract. But there's a lot of untapped potential there. The only sure things you have is Amari Cooper and David Njoku. So
yeah, listen, speaking of David Njoku, since you mentioned him, this is like the lowest ranked. You look at the receiving core, the Cleveland Browns are at 18th according to the PFF. Then you have Deshaun Watson at 23 as far as quarterback. So let's finish rounding out how they have the Cleveland Browns ranked, and let's get to David Njoku. I didn't do it by tight end room because generally speaking, nobody has two tight ends that are going to be less. I can only think about a couple years ago when you had Hernandez and Gronk in New England. It's kind of hard to have two top, flight tight ends. So I just went with the individual ranking. So let's take a look at David Njoku. David Njoku comes in at number 9. Njoku's breakout season came in year 7 as he instantly made a connection with stand-in signal caller Joe Flacco. Njoku forced 26 missed tackles in 2023, just shy of his total from 2017 to 2022. And it was almost like he woke up and was like, y'all can't tackle me no more. Njoku has the athleticism, and if he can form a connection with Deshaun Watson, he should continue producing at a very high level. Let's give you just some guys that are ahead of David Njoku in terms of the tight end position. I think we talked about this in UCSS. We had George Kittle at 1, Kelsey at 2, Andrews at 3, Hockenson at 4, Sam Laporta at 5, Dallas Goedert of the Eagles at 6, 7, Kyle Pitts, 8, Trey McBride, and then 9, David Njoku. I'm going to just say this by itself. I got Njoku higher than McBride, Pitts, and Dallas Goedert. I'm going to just keep it real.
Yeah, I definitely got to, when I get to Dallas Goedert, I think that's when the real conversation comes in about, who's the better player. But Pitts and like those two other guys that was just mentioned before him, he's definitely ahead of him. I think so that will put him at 7. He's definitely a top 7 tight end. And, depending on what type of mood I'm in, I'm going to make the argument that he's a top 5 tight end.
Right.
Right. But I think the biggest thing that we're looking for this year is, can David Njoku build on that Pro Bowl season from last year before Deshaun Watson got hurt? I think they connected for 1 touchdown throughout the season. And, of course, he went on to have a career season with Joe Flacco as the quarterback. And so it's all about just really getting that timing and that chemistry down between those two guys, because with his athleticism, with Deshaun Watson's athleticism, when things break down, they should both to be able to get out there and make something happen on the fly. So, if they can just gel and get on the same page, I think they'd be cool.
Yeah, listen, I think David Njoku is going to be a really big part of the Browns' passing offense. Lost some weight, wants to be more agile. He breaks a lot of tackles in the open space. And one thing that he's underrated with is his blocking ability, which we know that will be used in this offense, man. We got